Hi, this is Ken Delabastide, senior reporter for the Herald Bulletin. I'm joined today by Senator Joe Donnelly.
Thank you.
Welcome to Anderson.
Thank you very
Senator.
much.
You've got a little bit of snowy weather today.
It's great to be back.
Not
yes.
too bad.
Yeah.
It's good to be back, though,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is.
So the big news this weekend is the unfortunate passing of Supreme Court Justice Scalia. And already there's a lot of debate on whether or not the Senate will vote to approve a nominee brought forth by President Obama. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is my sympathies and thoughts are with Justice Scalia's family. He gave a lot of his life to our country, and we're grateful for that. Second, in regards to filling that position, that's the president's constitutional obligation. And so the president has an obligation under the Constitution to fill that position. And so I expect that President Obama will bring forward a nominee. And my constitutional obligation is to review that nominee, to ask questions about that nominee, and then to vote on it. And so, you know, I plan to do my job.
Do you think that some Republicans that are leaning in favor of voting on a nominee that's brought forward, or do you think they're going to leave it up to the leadership to decide that?
Well, I'm hopeful they do what I do, which is I was voted the most bipartisan Democratic senator in the last 22 years by the Lugar Center.
Right.
And so the leadership for me is the people of Indiana, and that's who I work for.
Of course, if they don't vote on a new justice, we could be almost a year, which leaves the court in limbo. With a lot of important decisions.
We are 340 days approximately from the end of President Obama's term. If we were to not have a vote on a nominee, this term would expire, a new president would come in, a new president would have to pick a nominee, then we would have to have hearings and a vote. You might be out as far as a year and a half from right now if we don't do that, which would put the court, as you mentioned, in limbo on a number of very, very serious issues. And so the average wait time between the president nominating someone for the Supreme Court and a vote for confirmation is 67 days. We're 340 days out. We have time to nominate 5 justices between now and then.
We do. We do. Of course, the other big news came out of Indianapolis this past weekend with the announcement that Carrier was moving, I believe it's 1,500 jobs from Indianapolis to Mexico. And I know that you've had conversations with the CEO of Carrier. I have, and it's even worse than that. 1,400 positions at Carrier in Indianapolis, and just up the road from Anderson in Huntington, Indiana, another 700 jobs at UTEC. Right. And Carrier is a company that on Thursday, last Thursday, announced that earnings for the past year have actually gone up almost 20%, from over $6 billion to over $7 billion, and that's the parent company, United Technologies. And so earnings are up almost 20%. Their CEO said that earnings had actually reached the top level of expectations at the same time that we're letting go Hoosiers who have given their heart and soul to these companies, profitable companies, successful companies, companies that make good products. The American dream is you work hard, you do a good job for your company, right. You help make them successful, they in turn make their shareholders successful, and in turn you get a decent salary and a chance at retirement and being with your family. That's the American compact. That's what this country is built on. And it seems wrong for Carrier to do this. It is wrong for Carrier to do this at a time of increasing profits and success. But I also think you found out from the CEO that the move was not prompted by federal regulations that they couldn't comply with. That's exactly right. They first indicated, well, this has to do with federal regulations and with supplier issues, that it's simpler to be supplied in Mexico. Well, then I asked very, very pointed questions of the president and said, tell me specifically what federal regulation is making this more difficult for you. I'll work hard to eliminate it and end it, because that's my job, is to fight for Indiana's employers. They said, well, there really aren't any. And then I asked, well, with your suppliers, which supplier is going to charge you higher prices in Indianapolis than in Mexico? And they said, well, none of them. And I said, well, which suppliers are not going to supply you on time in Indianapolis as opposed to Mexico? And I said, well, none of them. So all of those so-called reasons really don't exist. Yeah. The other thing is they just got tax credits, I believe, $5.1 million. They did, $5.1 million federal tax credit to
to help them with their operations, because the tax credit was based on them creating additional jobs in Indiana. And so I told the president of Carrier, we expect every single penny back of that. I am still hopeful that in Huntington and in Indianapolis, that we can work together with Carrier and with UTEC to have these jobs come back. There's no reason why not. If it's not federal regulations and it's not suppliers, well, then it's simply a wage issue. And so how can we work together to try to make it so that the wage issue is minimalized and all the benefits of being here, being close to markets, the highest quality workers, of having the most advanced technologies in factory operations, all of those are here. Their real answer for success is here in Indiana.
Thanks for your time, Senator. It's always good
Thank
to
you
see
very much. Thank you.